Ladies and gentlemen, today, 8th March 2024, marks the International Women's Day. It is a day to honor and recognize women's achievements and contributions to society. The day also highlights the importance of gender equality and women's rights. Being a global day for celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, the day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity and to appreciate the extraordinary acts of women as they stand together as a united force to advance gender equality around the world. This year's global theme for International Women's Day is Count Her In, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. However, to make our celebration relevant to our cause, we are thinking globally, but acting locally and embracing the month of our independence. Hence the theme, Rewriting Ghana's History, the Role of the Ghanaian Woman. Yes, she can. You will all agree with me that women, and Ghanaian women for that matter, continue to play very important roles in the society, despite the challenges such as discrimination, inequality, and stereotyping that they face. In Ghana, women have made and are still making tremendous marks in leadership, catapulting them into the limelight. We remember the late Annie Baitajage, a Ghanaian lawyer, women's rights activist, and the first woman in Ghana and the Commonwealth of Nations to become a judge. The late Melody Millicent Dankwa, the first woman pilot. Esther Oklu, an astute female entrepreneur. In recent past, we recall Professor Nana Jane Ajiman, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Rita Akosia Dixon, the current Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and Professor Nana Abba Ampia Amfo, the first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Legon. All these women and many more are part of the long haul of fame of women we can celebrate today. At this point, I would like to, on behalf of WAUPSA, acknowledge Dr. Koyo Enim Wright, the university's first female registrar and the brain behind the establishment of the Women's Association of UPSA, that is WAUPSA. As her tenure as the first female registrar comes to an end of UPSA, we pay glowing tribute to a woman who has demonstrated true leadership and has inspired many of us to aspire to leadership positions. As a woman myself, it is refreshing to note that the feat of these women is an indication that women have the potential to lead if inspired, nurtured, and given the opportunity, they will rise to the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the management of this noble university, I wish to welcome you once again to this event, which commemorates women, especially the men who recognize and appreciate the roles women play at our workplaces and in our homes. I hope that at the end of the program, we will continue to appreciate the women, that the women have the potential to excel in any endeavor they find themselves in, and this potential ought to be tapped. For those who pay lip service to the call for women's participation and inclusion in leadership, let this program transform you from rhetoric to advocacy. To all female students, let your slogan be, "Yes, we can." Thank you very much for your kind attention. And in UPSA, anytime you hear someone mention WAUPSA, we respond, women building together.
Do we not share the same sky above, the same earth below, the same longing for love? Yes, so we wage wars with no respite in sight, men versus women, shadows of the night. But amidst all this chaos, I see a sliver of hope. As we begin to cope, at home, the woman can carry the cross, and at work, she can be the boss.
I've always told you this argument between men and women is not necessary. Come on. Stop it. I'm telling you, it's not necessary. Why? Come on.
See them. They are always arguing. Men versus women. What should I do for you again?
She doesn't understand a woman. A weaker vessel. She doesn't understand her place is behind a man. She's not supposed to be seen. She's expected to woman, but she is.
Stop right there.
Huh?
She's this, she's that. That's all you know. You see, these are the wrong narratives society puts on women. Our place is not behind a man. We can be great too. I am not subhuman, nor a fool. I have strength, intellect, and reasoning, just like everyone else.
Shut up! When I talk back.
Yes, I won't talk back. Not because I'm a woman, but because I have courtesies. I'm a lady, well-groomed and cultured. I stay distant from violence and abuse. I don't talk back because I love peace. I'm the symbol of morality, no weakness. This is all I want you to understand.
What exactly is your problem?
She wants to be educated. She wants to get into a profession. She wants to earn a salary. She wants to sit in a boardroom. Why? Are you a man?
No, I am not a man. I am a woman. I am a masterpiece, a beautiful art of nature. I love being a woman and I love being myself. But going to school, getting into a profession, and earning a salary are not roles for men. They are roles for human beings. I want to be treated as an equal human being regardless of gender. I want to pursue education, a profession, and obtain financial independence because I have dreams and capabilities, just like everyone else.
You talk too much. Whether you like it or not, women are weaker vessels.
It is disheartening to hear such stereotypical views perpetuated in our society, even by people who should know better. The thinking that women are inherently the weaker vessels and should be subordinate to men is not only outdated, but also harmful. Strength and worth are not determined by gender. Women have demonstrated time and again their resilience, intelligence, and capabilities in various spheres of life.
You're just trying to challenge the natural order of things. Women have their place and not in power and authority. Get that. Their place is in the kitchen and in the bedroom.
The so-called natural order you refer to is merely a social construct designed to maintain a system of inequality and oppression. Women have been marginalized and denied opportunities based on this false notion for far too long. It's time to break free from these constraints and recognize the worth and potentials of every individual, regardless of gender.
See you. See your face. You're so beautiful. Your body curves are so nice. When you touch me, I feel like I'm in the sky. When you kiss me, I see the rainbow. When I get in between your thighs, I feel like I'm in heaven. Your body, I can't have enough. Baby, order, me brony, please, why don't you stay home, warm my bed, and satisfy my sexual pleasures?
The worst hit. Anytime you see a woman, you see sex and pleasure. You objectify us. You reduce us to nothing more than an object for your pleasure. My worth as a woman is not defined by my physical appearance. I am proud that I'm beautiful. I have curves, and I turn you on. These are special gifts God gave to me. But most importantly, I'm a human being with ambitions. It is disheartening that you fail to see me as an equal partner, worthy of respect and dignity. I deserve to be treated for who I am, not just how you perceive me physically.
What haven't I told you to? These gender battles are not necessary. What our society needs now is change. We need bold, intelligent, critical, and creative thinkers to bring progress and development to this nation. And of course, anybody can take the charge, whether man or a woman. A woman can be a vice chancellor. like Professor Nanesi Ampofo of Legon. A woman can be a president of a nation, like Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, formerly of Liberia. A woman can be a CEO of a multinational, like Patricia Obonai of Vodafone, and Abna Osepoku of Barclays Bank. She can be a professor, like Professor Fidelis Kwanzaa, who is here with us at UPSA, and the many women professors across our universities. And guess what? She can even be a mechanic.
A mechanic?
Yes, like our very own beautiful she-canic, Nane Fua. Indeed, a woman has no limit. She can go every height she wants. She can be a corporate boss and a mother at the same time.
She can get pregnant and still sit in the boardroom. She can win on merit. Let's stop gender discrimination.
We are one people, one nation, and with one goal, to make our society a better place for the next generation. Thank you.
Abba, come here, I said, yeah.
When we started putting the celebration of today together, a formidable lady engaged the executive of WAUPSA. And I call her formidable because she's a serial entrepreneur. When I got to know all the varied things she's engaged in, I could only but admire her. She herself has a story to tell, and I won't begin to tell it. I will let her come and share her story of resilience and perseverance with us this morning. She's told me she sold on the street, and I find it hard to believe it, though. Selling by the roadside to keep it together. She was looked after by a foundation. And so when she also had the means, she thought, what a better way to also start a foundation she calls Yes, She Can Foundation, to impact and to help other female so that they can also thrive. I present to you this morning the founder of She Can Foundation, Mrs. Mary Annan Ewuku, to give us a statement. Let's welcome her.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Abaluko. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, my esteemed university ladies, it is an absolute privilege for me to stand before you today as we gather to embark on a journey of understanding what it means to rewrite Ghana's history, with an appreciation of the role we as women have played in it. Today, we focus our lens on the force that has been the backbone of our nation, yet often overlooked, the Ghanaian woman. Welcome to this remarkable event, Rewriting Ghana's History, the role of a Ghanaian woman, hosted by Women Association of UPSA in partnership with Yes She Can Foundation. As a founder of Yes She Can, I am honored to be here amongst the brightest and evidently ambitious women who are no doubt the architects of our future. I share a story with you. Mrs. Logo has mentioned a few, but this is a story that begins with the humblest of circumstances. As a young girl of about 8 children, struggling to make ends meet, the road to education seemed obstructed by many challenges. But through the grace of God and again the grace of God, and the generosity of wonderful people that I met. I was fortunate enough to have received a need-based scholarship that opened the gateway to a world of possibilities. This scholarship, which is the key to my education, was not merely a financial lifeline. It was a catalyst for transformation for me. It taught me the profound truth that when a woman is empowered with knowledge, she becomes an unstoppable force. Armed with determination, resilience, and a thirst for learning, I was able to overcome many of the limitations that surrounded me. Today, I stand before you not only as a founder of Yes She Can Foundation, but as a testimony to the incredible power that education wields in rewriting one's destiny. The journey from a struggling young lady to what some may consider a successful entrepreneur, with multiple businesses spanning from facility management services, the multiple education, food industry, is a testament to unwavering strength that lies within every Ghanaian woman. Ladies, whilst understanding the role that women before us have played in Ghana's history, and Prof. Kwanzaa mentioned the loss of the women. I wouldn't want to go over and over the loss of the women names that you might hear again. So whilst understanding the role that all these women have played before us, it is important to remember that you are the torchbearers of change, the authors of a new narrative for Ghana. As you tread the path of higher education, remember that the pursuit of knowledge is not just a personal endeavor. It is a collective mission to rewrite the story of our nation. And I'm here today because I did not end where the support came to me. I'm here to give it back and encourage and empower other people.
The International Women's Day is once again upon us, this time under the theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. And to personalize the day and enhance its impact, we at WAUPSA have chosen the theme, Rewriting Ghana's History, the Role of the Ghanaian Woman. Yes, she can. I believe you can too. Madam Chairperson, this day is not one on which we gather to make speeches, slam into inactivity, and awaken the next year, just to continue the ritual. It holds significant meaning for you, for me, for WAUPSA, for Ghana, and for Africa and the world. It signifies that while strides have been made, the struggle for equal rights and the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women continues. I recall my first acquaintance with the literature and faces championing women issues. I was a young graduate who wanted some side issues, so I was rapporteuring for Abantu for development. I don't attend the international conferences, but when they go and come, they will bring me all the writing materials that have been written, and then I would compose good minutes out of it. So that was where I saw the words hardliners, glass ceiling, affirmative action, gender equity, and then these things drew my attention to follow the issues. Then I didn't understand what those things meant until I also got into industry. Then they made a lot of sense to me. But then it gave me the impetus to follow these issues. And then here we are today. making a statement at WAUSA, or International Women's Day. In fact, in those days, there were faces like Hawa Yakubu, Nana Oyelisa, Madame Rose Kuti Mensah, and a whole lot. They've done well. Here we are, as I said. As we commemorate this celebration, it is also a reminder to press on and never wane in our collective resolve to uphold gender equity. Then it was equality. Today it is equity and justice in our society. Madam Chairperson, the journey to extricate ourselves from the woes of gender inequity and injustice has been long and tortuous due to entrenched obstacles. Our cultures are predominantly patriarchal, fostering male dominance and appear to relegate females to subordinate roles. Moreover, bias barriers still persist. The UN Development Program observed in 2020 that 90% of people, including women, hold biases against women. Thus, our battle unfolds in two fronts, both within and without. The impact of these and other barriers is reflected in our relatively low educational opportunities, economic and political participation, and a lack of confidence in our ability to effect change. And according to the Global Gender Gap Report 2023 by the World Economic Forum, the global gender parity stands at 68.4%, and with a marginal improvement of just 0.3% from the previous year. At this pace, achieving full global gender parity will take us 131 years. Sub-Saharan Africa's gender parity is slightly lower, and that is 68.2, whilst Ghana's parity has slightly improved to 68.8, ranking 100th out of the 146 countries studied. The foregoing, Madam Chair, seemingly points to a daunting task. However, evidence points to the contrary. Women throughout history continue to rise up and are being counted, from Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, and the mother, who's been honored as the Mother of Freedom movement by Congress, to Malala Yousafzai, who bravely advocated for children and women's education despite threats from the Pakistani Taliban. And each of us gathered here, the flame of gender empowerment and equity burns bright. In Ghana, we find inspiration in numerous pioneering daughters of the land. Madam Chair, permits me to highlight the heroic exploits of Nanaya Santua, who led the War of the Golden Stool in 1900, the artistic and creative ingenuity of Theodosia Okon, designer of our national flag, Rosamond Nkansa, the first woman to enlist in the Ghana Police Service, and whose petition succeeded in removing a clause that banned women, married and pregnant women from serving. The entrepreneurial prowess of Esther Afua Oklu, co-founder of the Women's World Bank, Ghana, known for her statement, "Women must know that the strongest power in the world is economic power." The literary contributions of esteemed Pan-African writers, Professor Efua T. Sutherland and Amata Edu Alice Anu, the first Ghanaian woman to participate in Olympics at the Munich Games in 1972, Rebecca Nadede Aite, a distinguished entrepreneur whose image adorns our 50-peso coin, Susanna Al-Hassan, the first Ghanaian and African woman to hold a cabinet portfolio in 1961, Hannah Kujo, Agnes Oforiwa, Tego Kwakupo, Mabel Ellen Dow, and many others who spearheaded Ghana's independence struggle. And I agree with our lady who said the history was written with a big 6. Where are the women? But there were women. So let's rewrite the history. Recently, we have witnessed women ascend to the highest echelons of national governance and other facets of national achievements, including Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Adeline Bamford Addo, 2 Chief Justices, Georgina Theodora Wood and Sophia Akufo, 2 Electoral Commissioners, Mrs. Charlotte Osei and Mrs. Jane Mensah, 3 Attorney Generals and Ministers of Justice, Mrs. Betty Modi Drisu, Mrs. Marietta Brew, Apia Opong, and Miss Gloria Kufu. In academic leadership, we have produced 5 Vice Chancellors, Professor Jenana Opokwajiman, University of Cape Coast, ACOY, University of Energy and Natural Resources, Rita Kosia Dixon, Nana Abba Apia Amfo, University of Ghana, and Lydia Aziato, University of Health and Allied Sciences, and the Chancellor, Mrs. Henry Chinwe Hesse. 3 female presidents of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Letitia E. Oben, Professor Abba Bento Andam, and Henrietta J.A. Mensah-Bonsu. Then captains of industry and CEOs of internationally reputed organizations, Mrs. Abina Ose Opoku, MD and Regional Director of Anglophone West Africa of the Eco Bank and former MD of APSA, Mrs. Patricia Obonai, MD Vodafone, Dr. Victoria Kwakwa, VP of Eastern and Southern Africa World Bank, and many others. The first female Brigadier General of the Ghana Armed Forces, Constance Ama Emefa Ejeni. Madam Chairperson, we carry the torch today because of the foundational works of these trailblazers and countless activists of female empowerment. It is now our turn, but the question each of us must answer is, will we pass on the baton to the next generation in a tailwind or a headwind position? We owe it to ourselves, our predecessors, our future, our nation, our continent, and our world to persist until victory is achieved. Long live Ghana, long live WAUPSA, and long live UPSA. Thank you for your attention. I wanted to drop one hint. Maybe that is what will take us home. In a recent meeting I had with women in waste management in Cape Town, and I learned the phrase, drop the keys. And drop the keys means that a lot of us have keys to the lives of other women in prison who have been imprisoned by fear, so that they cannot come out of their predicaments. But when we drop the keys, it means that whatever we have known, whatever we have learned over the years, our experiences, should be transferred to them so that they will pick the keys and open their prison doors and come out. So as I leave the stage, I leave you with drop the keys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Labi. Drop the keys. Let's drop the keys so that the next woman can pick it up and open doors of opportunities. Thank you very much. We have partnered with the Women's Commission of the Student Representative Council and the Graduate School. They will give us a few words, maybe 3 minutes each. So if the representatives of the SRC Women's Commission are here, or for GRASA, please come up. They will have the opportunity to speak to us for 5 or 3 minutes. Let's welcome them as they come. Oh, he comes with a young man. Oh, you're escorting her. She could come by herself, you know. Today is our day. Let's take the stage.
Thank you, Mrs. Abaloko. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nora Danso, the Grassac Women's Commissioner. A very warm welcome to the International Women's Day celebration. I would like to express my gratitude to the dignitaries and all students, both graduate school and undergraduate school present here. Let us celebrate International Women's Day by extending our deepest gratitude to all remarkable women in our lives who continue to inspire us every day and remain steadfast in tough times. Thank you all for honoring our invite and joining us on this special day.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and you're all welcome. I'm Joyce Lase, the UPSA SRC Deputy Women's Commissioner, and I'm here to represent the SRC Women's Commission. I want to use this opportunity to say welcome to everyone, and we are glad that you are interested in celebrating the International Women's Day with us. And for the Women's Commission, we are very much passionate that we groom our ladies into becoming esteemed women across the globe, not only in Ghana. And so we are glad that you came here and to get yourself inspired. Please, at the end of the day, make sure you grab a thing or two and make sure you socialize, and there'll be free food, which is very important. So feel at home and learn a lot. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
To invite Madame Yara Portia Clou, if she's here, to give us the guest speaker's address. Let's welcome her with a clap. Oh, let's do it better. Let's celebrate our woman.
Myself very privileged. My advice will go to the young girls. Please and please take your time when you select your role models. Make sure you get the time to humble yourself, to listen. I must say, when I started, it took me a lot of patience to understand what exactly my mentor wanted me to do. So when you find yourself around that space, you need patience, you need time, and you need that humility to learn from them. It will take years before they open up to you, but if you are consistent, you will be able to learn from them. So on this day of International Women's Day, I really wish every young person here the best, and especially to the UPS Women's Commission. I want to say a very big thank you, because I was appointed to chair their commission, and I've never been here before since it was given to me. So I'd like to take the opportunity to say a very big thank you to them.
We are privileged to have a guest speaker, a woman I admire very much. I'm sure she wouldn't want me to say all the things I'm going to be saying, so I'll keep it brief. Today is about celebrating women, so allow me to, spoil you a little. So we have as a keynote speaker, she was here on time. I love people who respect time, because that tells a lot about them. She was here, and we had to plead with her to, sit for a while. She's been patient, and for that, I want us to clap for her. We want to appreciate you for your understanding. It's not always you find people, even though you have a fixed time and you don't adhere to it, and then they are patient. We appreciate you for spending your morning with us. Honorable Katrina Fiku. She has 20 years of high-level office management. She's in public relations, communications, leadership, advocacy, governance, rural development, and financial management skills, which she brings to this conversation. Do I need to add more? We know her in the political space. What I love about all that is written here is her knowledge of languages. And that this morning, I want to urge all of us, if we can take time, to learn French. That I think we haven't had very good French teachers. Does anybody agree with me? Mine scared me out of class 5 or so, and that was it for me. After school, I've been to Alliance Française, and still my tongue, doesn't still do it. Hopefully, by the grace of God, I believe by the time we are done, she will teach me a few words, which I will use in conversation at least, to help with my course. She speaks Swahili, she speaks French, she speaks, what else? Did I see Spanish or somewhere along the line? And she speaks Twi and Nzema, and a versatile woman. She's here to speak to us this morning about how we can rewrite the history using the Ghanaian woman as a point and a case study. So let's welcome her and listen to her journey.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Good morning to you all, and good morning, Madam MC. Very humbled. Chief servant of the women cause. I'm so glad to be here. As I'm sure Madam Chairperson will allude, we just came back from Germany last night, got out of the airport at 11 p.m., but today is a special day for women. So even if I showed up at 1, 2, 3 a.m., I would be here. So I'm happy to be here. Madam Chairperson, honorable invited guests, and I'm happy to see the Women Association of the Security Agencies, faculty, women leaders, especially the students, leaders, and leaders of all spheres here, friends from the media, and the young future leaders, women gathered here, the future of our cause. Happy International Women's Day, and good morning. I'm happy to be here today with such a remarkable assembly of women leaders and change makers, and some men too. We don't want to leave you out. You see, you're here representing. The theme for today's event, Rewriting Ghana's History, the Role of the Ghanaian Woman, Yes, She Can, resonates deeply with me. And I'm sure it resonates with almost all of us here. It speaks to the transformative power of women, the untapped potential within each and every one of us here. And each and every one of us here has the willingness to shape the course of history. That is the undeniable truth. Yes, we can. As a Ghanaian woman, I have been fortunate to witness firsthand the remarkable contributions of women in our society. From the boardroom to the classroom, from the marketplace to the halls of government, Ghanaian women have been at the forefront of driving positive change and progress in our nation. As we gather here at UPSA today, in this institution of learning where I'm told there are more girls, more women, we are not just celebrating women, we are celebrating the architects of our nation's future. We are celebrating the brilliance, the resilience, and the boundless potential of the Ghanaian woman today. It is a day to reflect on the extraordinary achievements of women across the globe and to reaffirm our commitment to empowering and uplifting each other, starting with us in this room. From the dawn of time, our foremothers have been the pillars that held our communities together through wars, famine, and adversity. We have been there. Yes, we can. The powerful queens of ancient Ghana's kingdoms displayed resilience, wisdom, and leadership that ensured our civilizations prospered. We stand on the shoulders of trailblazers, as already mentioned, like the Yasantua of our country, the brave Queen Mother who led the fight against British colonialization. Her courage and tenacity remain an inspiration across generations of Ghanaian women striving to overcome patriarchal norms and discrimination. We have had our leadership share of countless women and unsung heroes. Pre-independence movements in our country says less about the women and the roles they played. The market women, the women farmers, the professionals, they all played their roles in ushering in our freedoms from 1957. Yes, she can. The yes, she can do spirit was exhibited in mothers such as Madame Theodosia Oko. We have played our part to prove our mettle through sports as women, through business, through politics, of course that's my domain, through religion and science. Yes, she can. In contemporary Ghana, you can extol women who have excelled in film, in business, in politics, and other endeavors solely reserved for men. Yes, we are breaking the proverbial ceiling, but we need to do it collectively. And I enjoyed Ayara when she said, we do it together. Women do it together. We just don't celebrate it. The spirit of our sister's keeper must be ignited. You see it in the rural communities when we go to funerals. We cook together, we sing together, we do things together. We just need to celebrate it. Yes, we can. Just as our sister from Europe, Clara Zetkin, leader of the Women's Office in Copenhagen, in the early 19th century, she stood up to say, yes, she can. Our sisters from the mountaintops, our sisters from the coastline, across the globe, all stood up in their various endeavors to say, yes, we can. The quiet leadership of the spouses of our political leaders since independence also need to be recognized. It is only appropriate to honor a few who will be considered trailblazers. There are many in the fight for independence, freedoms, and our liberties in Ghana, but time will not permit us to mention all of them. So the few trailblazers, the Ghanaian woman as we celebrate today, and it's in no order of preference. We salute these women of courage. Madam Fathia Nkrumah of blessed memory. Madam Fulera Liman of blessed memory. Madam Nadu Mills. Madam Teresa Kufuor of blessed memory. Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlins. Her spirit and her resilience so shows. And if you see her, say thank you from all of us. Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur. Mrs. Lodina Mahama, who's still standing by her husband as he tries to ignite his effort to lead this nation. Our First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and Mrs. Samira Bawumia, who's very poised to be, inshallah, the first Muslim First Lady, if Ghana permits us. Similarly, I salute the spouses of the clergy and other religious heads and their wives for their silent but significant roles in the development of our country. Yes, we can. I would be remiss if I do not salute women in the media space who tell our stories from the days of Ajua Afari and Madame Elizabeth Ohene, and many, many more. Of course, women in political leadership have always experienced marginalization, and I speak from experience. But we still say, yes, we can. From the early days of 10 women who represented us in Parliament through the Act of People's Representation in 1960, they were not elected, so they didn't go through the phase of insults. They were nominated, but they represented women nevertheless. The First Republic of our current Parliament had very few women. To the current membership of females in the 8th Parliament, still, there are only 40 out of 32 million people. 40. Yes, we can. And we are very hopeful that the 9th Parliament will have more women to celebrate our efforts in this nation. Our prayer is that together we can achieve the UN Sustainable Goal number 4 of gender equality, and it fits right into the theme for 2024, theme of the women's celebration. It says, investing in women accelerate progress. So we hope and pray that the UN Sustainable Goal of gender equity will bring to parity salaries, workspace equity, and respect for women in the workplace. I also say that the role of the Ghanaian woman needs torchbearers, and the young women of this country, including the ladies at this institution, give me hope. From Wiala to DJ Switch in the creative space, I say, yes, we can. There is hope. My dear sisters and mothers and cousins gathered here today, I urge you to embrace the power that lies within you. You are the architect of your own destiny as a woman, the master of your own fate. Do not allow anyone, a woman or man, to dim your light or undermine your worth. Believe in yourself, trust in your abilities, and never underestimate the impact that you can have on the world around you, starting with your community. As students of this esteemed institution, you are the future leaders, innovators, and change makers of our nation. The world is yours for the taking, and the possibilities are endless. So I implore you to dream big, set ambitious goals, and never be afraid to pursue your passions with unwavering determination. Yes, doors will be locked, no's will be said to you, but remember, it is your passion, your unwavering determination that will see you through. Today, on International Women's Day, let us commit to rewrite the narrative. Let us rise together, empowered by the resounding message, yes, she can. Yes, we can. Let our voices be heard, our actions be seen, and our contributions be celebrated. Together, we can rewrite Ghana's history, ensuring that future generations inherit a nation where Ghanaian women are not only recognized, but celebrated for the powerful and change-making forces that we truly are. On this note, I wish each and every one of you gathered here, especially the young ones, a happy Women's Day. Celebrate, pass it on, and pay it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We need to rewrite the stories. The narratives have been in favor of the men. And the interesting thing is that it's the women who are writing the stories. Let's write about the small achievements, the unseen ones, the unspoken things, the one we speak about in our bedrooms. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate each other. And I think we can with the help of God. and with all the legislation that's being passed, I think we'll hold our own. We are not competing with men. We are not competing with you. But we say make the ground fair so we can compete. Don't tie our hands and ask us to compete unfairly. The men who are here, we are grateful that you are here to support us on this special day. I would like to acknowledge the deans who are here. I saw a few of them. The vice deans who are here, the heads of departments, and all of you, those that I haven't seen. We appreciate you, that you've taken time off to spend this morning with us. We'll move on swiftly. We would ask the group that performed the spoken word to give us the choreography that you've spoken so much about. So it's time, just give us a breather whilst we prepare for the next phase of the program. So if the group is ready, kindly come up and then we see what you have.
Okay. Brother, what you do? I beg you, notice, let's go. Our Father, waiting for heaven. Nobody fit gonna let teacher where you sit down. Our Baba, we not do your pattern and we throw a salama, cause now you hold us down. These other girls, with them they carry for pocket. I cannot relate, cause my father is not their mate. These other girls, with them they live for apartment. All of them are worthless, and I just they laugh. Cause my father is bigger than Odo, every Odo, any Odo, Odo, any Odo, all the Odo. Because my father is bigger than Odo, any Odo, every Odo, Odo.
You're a bad boy. I will use a four pedo womichel, meso ma dodging, or the nabochella pusifum, nabochella wawa, nabochella wawa, nabochella wawa.
My students, in this tournament, all of your opponents are past champions. Respect all, fear not.
Yeah. Why do my father and son is a problem and somebody test I goes only? Baby, I don't want no drama till I did the studio knocking it only. I hear my she back to the bone, say she leave me alone.
Take Honorable Abla Difagomashi's message. It's very brief. We'll take that, and after that, we want to recognize a few distinguished personalities among us. So, Clifford, if you are ready, let's have Honorables.
At UPSA, and doubly blessed sitting between these amazing women. And all we want to say is that we are glad that we had women who came before us, and we can stand on their shoulders to reach even higher heights, and also make it a point that we keep the door open for other young women to come. My challenge to us this year is that when we spend time and commit to ensuring that your life indeed gets better than ours, it's your responsibility to reciprocate the gesture and show appreciation, that we dare to walk on the narrow path so that yours will be smoother. If you don't take advantage of that and run with it, you will shortchange the next generation after you. That's my only worry. But I'm sure that as we have these conversations, you will recondition yourself and reposition yourself to take charge when we exit. And to the women who have been empowering others for many years, when you have succeeded in empowering us, don't leave us alone. Be there for us. As Member of Parliament for the blessed people of Katu South, sometimes I feel lonely in the chamber. Sometimes I ask, where are the women who empowered me to become who I am? Are they still there? Are they praying for me? Are they still pushing? Or they've left me to fly on my own? It's important that grooming socializing, empowerment does not become an event. It's a lifelong teaching process, and we must not cut it short halfway because you think we have arrived. When we start thinking that we know it all, it's your duty to rein us in, to redirect, to re-engineer, to encourage. Continue the empowerment drive. And I'm sure that as the NDC has picked a woman to be the running mate, very soon, in our lifetime, we may well see a woman president of our country. The tokenism is enough. We have proven ourselves. Give us a chance. Thank you.
Mbesiafo yɛn amo yɛayɛ adwumadzen yɛyɛ adwumadzen so a na ɔsɔ enyu a ɔdɛ yɛbɔ abawdo. Nti this is the time to recognize those who have helped us along the way, who have paved the way for all of us. The first in no significant order, we would like to call Dr. Mary Nana Isiel out to the stage. She's surprised. Today is a day of surprises for us women. Let's recognize her. Dr. Isiel, you're my the women of UPSA. We say we recognize you for your immense contribution to all the WAUPSA programs. And we appreciate you. You are an inspiration to all the ladies in the University of Professional Studies. We say Ayuko, and continue to shine the lights, be a path for others to walk on. Ayuko. Will the representative of Honorable Abla Gomashi, can she come up? Madam Eklu. Please, let's welcome her as she comes to you. So the Women's Association of UPSC, we say to you, Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi, MP for Ketu South, your versatility and exemplary leadership are highly appreciated. You are an inspiration to women and to us here at UPSC. We say Ayuko Moni Juma and continue with what you do best. Please, we would like to call Honorable Catherine Afeku to present this award for us. The next award is for Mrs. Florence Labi, the CEO of the Jospong Group. I told you she's a friend to this university. Whenever we call, she shows up. She doesn't show up empty-handed. She comes with goodies. and we appreciate her very much. The women of UPSA recognize you. We recognize the little things you do for us. We say for all your support to the Ladies Association, right from its inception, for all that you've done for us, we recognize you. We are indeed very grateful to you. You are an inspiration to us women. And we say, Ayiko Mwene Juma, and continue to support us. Please, Honorable, don't go. Yes, please. We want to appreciate you, Honorable Catherine Abelema Afeku, Head of Strategic Communication, African Continental Free Trade Area. I didn't know you had jumped over. Your contribution towards the development of young women in the country is highly appreciated. You are an inspiration to us women. And the young women here, we appreciate you. And continue to do all that you do for women. We appreciate you.
Okay, good morning. So this next one is for a very special woman, very special to us all here at UPSA, and indeed to the whole of Ghana. It's being presented to Dr. Koyo Enimwright, who is a registrar of the University of Professional Studies, Accra. And to receive it on her behalf is our very own esteemed moderator and MC, Mrs. Abaloko. So I'll go ahead and read it. It reads, the Women's Association of UPSA to Dr. Koyo Enimwright. You have been a trailblazer and an inspiration to us all during your tenure as the first female registrar at UPSA. Thank you for conceiving the idea of establishing WAUPSA. And to do the presentation, Professor Fidelis Kwanzaa.
I'm not Dr. Wright. She asked me to receive the award on her behalf, and she's asked me to say a few words on her behalf as well. She really appreciates this, and when she mooted the idea that women should come together and form the association, she wasn't doing it for an award. She thought that if women bonded together and discussed women's issue, we will be threading the path towards empowerment. And so she says she appreciates that very much. And thank you for the recognition. Thank you, WAUPSA. All right. So with our awards out of the way, we are on to our next phase, where we invite our distinguished panelists to dive deep into the subject matter for today. And we have 4 distinguished people who have their own journeys and their own stories to tell. I think we will start with their stories, and then we will ask them to dive into the subject matter. Do you agree with me, panelists? So I'll introduce them, and as I introduce them, they will take their seats, and then we will continue. It will be brief, so be patient. You know today is our day, right? So you can't go away without listening to them. My first panelist, she's a seasoned boundary spanner, an accredited public relations practitioner, a business leader and development coach, and an international protocol and cross-cultural ethical consultant. She's a product of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the University of Liverpool Management School, and the Australia Institute of Business. She's an accredited member of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations UK, the Association for Talent Development USA, the International Association of Protocol Consultants, and on and on and on. Currently, the director of the Center of International Education and Collaboration at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. She serves as a member of the National Executive Council and chairman of the, why don't we say chairwoman or chairperson? Chairperson. We won't say, yeah. Chairperson, I think the chairperson of the student chapter and coordination committee of IPR, Ghana. She is passionate about working with young professionals, especially women, to become enhanced versions of themselves, and derives great joy from sharing her journey, which she will be doing, and mantras to inspire others to ride the storm of life. Let's welcome Madam Ivy Hewitt-Mills. My next panelist, she's a dynamic media personality, journalist, development communicator, and the founder of Girl Get Up Africa. I like that. She started her career in broadcasting several years ago at GTV Sports Plus. She has spent the last 6 years in various media and communication roles, including accounts manager at Farmhouse Production, news anchor at the Daily Guide Network, and project lead for Girl Get Up Africa. Her journey in the media industry has been marked by a commitment to delivering high-quality content and fostering meaningful conversation. She has a master's degree in development communications from the Institute of Journalism, now the University of Media Arts and Communication. As the co-host of the AM show, now I have to mention her name, Madam Sweetie Abochi, plays a pivotal role in shaping the morning show's success. Her passion for empowering women led her to Girl Get Up Africa, a project that seeks to reorient young women on the importance of mindset and willpower. She has inspired change in women through their annual seminars and other engagements on social media. Help me welcome Madam Sweetie. I think she will mention her own surname, so I don't butcher it. Next panelist, she defies the conventions. She's a driving force behind the Chicanic movement inspiring young girls to defy conventions and embrace their potential in mechanics, design, and STEM. How I used to run from the science class. Her commitment to dismantling stereotypes and fostering curiosity led her to create a platform that empowers girls to embrace their passions and shatter glass ceilings across industries. She is recognized as a leading force in advocating for women's participation in male-dominated industries. Help me welcome, she's not here, okay. I think we'll skip her. I understand she's held up and she'll be here shortly, so I'll jump to the next panelist, which is present. Our next panelist is no stranger. Lately, she captivated us with her singing prowess. Her resilience for me is what matters. She's a Ghanaian media personality, journalist, entrepreneur, and an activist for women. She's currently Ghana's ambassador for tourism. She's the founder and CEO of Acts of Production, organizers of many awards. I will list a few. Global Outstanding Woman, Ghana Outstanding Woman Awards, African Outstanding Woman Awards, Miss Kiddy Ghana, Teen Queen Ghana, Pulse for Africa, and many more. I would like at this point to welcome Madame Efua Santewa Owusu Edwenum. Let's welcome her with a clap. For those of you who want me to introduce her with the Singaton, if you know. Yes. Okay. So I'll take my seat. Oh, she's here. Oh, she came in a grand style. Please come up. Okay. She came in style. Let's clap for her. Though late. Mm-hmm. Okay, so please sit here and then let her sit there. All right. Thank you. So I'll continue with her profile. The timing was perfect, I guess. So I was introducing you and you were not here. So now that you're here, I will continue from where I left off. So Nanefua Sewa has spearheaded mentorship programs that have guided countless young girls in pursuing their passions and unleashing their potential in STEM fields. The only female in a group of men who dare take a 10,000-kilometer trip by road from Ghana to the UK. Was that you? Oh, let's clap for her. Okay, so I will also take my seat to be comfortable a little, eh? Me too, I'm a person small. Can we have the mic? Okay, you already have the mic. All right. So welcome, ladies. And I am deeply privileged to meet with you all and to delve into this subject matter. But to begin, I would like each of you to tell us briefly about your own journeys and what that means for a young woman who is listening, the takeaways, the challenges, and the bumpy roads you have both all encountered. Start with you, Ivy, to tell us a bit about your own journey and up to where you found yourself and the takeaways from that. And then we would continue.
Thank you so much, my immediate past boss, my big sister, my senior in the profession, whom I've looked up to for so long and I've had the honor and the privilege of learning under for the past few years. And it's thanks to her and all that I learned from her and other strong, amazing, inspiring women that I sit where I sit today. So Abba, here's to say thank you to you and to keep doing what you do. Please, may I have a round of applause for Mrs. Abaloko. The only thing she didn't do was to teach me to dance.
Oh.
And I'm going to hold you to that. Yes, certainly. Hello, everyone. It's always an honor to have the opportunity to share with young people. It's a privilege to sit before my big sisters here, and I'm totally overwhelmed. When I was invited to join the panel today, I was thinking, what's this old woman doing with all these fine young ladies? But then I thought to myself, you know what? It's important for women to tell their stories. The reasons why women were marginalized for so long is partly because we were not telling our stories. We were taught to be humble. But sharing your story does not make you anything other than humble. It's actually a very humbling experience. And to have the courage and the confidence to share what you may have endured in life or encountered, whether good or bad, what that does is that it empowers others, it encourages others, and it serves as a guiding light to those who may find themselves in similar situations. And so today I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I didn't have the typical growth process. I didn't have the typical experiences that a lot of young women had. I'm not going to go all the way back into my childhood days, but I'll start from the year 2000, because that's when I graduated from the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Prior to that, I had had very interesting experiences. I was fortunate to have gotten a job at Joy FM when it had first begun operation. And so myself and people like Komla Dumor, Dorinando, Gabi Ajete, and several others were the pace setters when the media landscape began to experience a proliferation. I was making money at a very young age. When I was at the School of Journalism, I didn't have the typical student experience because I was so busy working and enjoying what would have been called the celebrity life. And so I had it going well for me. A year after graduation, I met and married my husband, who thought that he was very traditional in his thinking. He thought, my beautiful wife shouldn't be stressing and working and calling another man her boss. And so why don't you just stay at home, enjoy living in the mansion, enjoy whatever resources I bring to the table. I have enough to look after us and our children. I never struggled on the relationship market. In fact, I was hardly on the relationship market. I met my husband. Within 3 months, I was traditionally married. Within a year, I had my church wedding. 9 months after I'd had my first child. So I don't have stories to tell you about some of the typical difficulties that women face. But I have a story that I hope would wake a lot of women up. And that story is that I was never content with living in a mansion and driving a Mercedes and a Land Cruiser and a Nissan Patrol and whatever else. I was never content with traveling around the world as and when I willed. I was never content in having my children going to the best schools. My spirit was restless. I needed to add value to myself. What I walked out of the Ghana Institute of Journalism with was not enough for me. And so even while I had the luxuries and the pleasures of living the life of Riley, if you want to call it, I kept adding value to myself. Piled on one degree after the other, piled on one professional qualification after the other. Fast forward, after 14 years of marriage, when a typical young woman may have been very, very comfortable, enjoying her life, tragedy struck. I woke up one day and my husband, who was the sole breadwinner of our family, had been brutally murdered. The world did not give me peace to grieve. The world did not give me peace to even come to terms with the change in my circumstances. My only good fortune is that I had education. And I swear by education. That was my lifesaver. Because I went from living in my mansion to living in my friend's outhouse. I could have gone to my mother's house. I could have gone to my sister's house. I did not want to get comfortable. I knew that if I did, I would never bounce back. My spirit remains restless. And so I went from there, consider the top of this auditorium building, to right under your feet. Everything was taken away from me, except my children and my education. I speak to a lot of people who say to me, oh, but why are you at UPSA? You know, you could find a job that would pay you a lot better in the private sector. You could be out there doing one thing or the other. No, I swear by education. Education is the reason why I am still on my feet and I still have my head up. And I have the audacity to sit here to speak to you today. Even when men decided to victimize me, to drag me through the mud, and dig me deeper into a ditch that I do not know who dug. But they decided that it was convenient to attack me publicly and do the unthinkable to a poor woman who had suddenly had her life turned upside down. It was women who held my hand. And today I want to publicly acknowledge my older sister Sheba. She's the reason I stand here today. She gave me the courage. She assured me. Women like Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi, I call her my big sister. Women like Abba, I'm about to get emotional.
Please, let's clap for her so she doesn't. I'm so proud of you, Ivy.
I know you are. In some of the deepest, darkest moments of my life, it was women who held my hand. And even if they did nothing, they spoke words of encouragement to me. And it was women who encouraged me to pursue higher education. And it is still women who are telling me you have to finish that doctorate. You see, we cannot stand alone. We cannot stand by ourselves. Our collective success depends on the individual efforts of each and every one of us. And even if you don't take anything away from this room, it's the fact that it's your responsibility as a woman, because nobody would do it for you. It's your responsibility, one, to build yourself up so that you can help another woman to build herself up. It's your responsibility as a woman to tell your story so that when somebody thinks that they're experiencing the worst, when somebody thinks that it's the end of the world, your story will remind them that just when the cocoon thought life was over, it became a butterfly. And the final thing I'm going to say, especially to the young women in this room, don't let anybody fool you. Look, anything and everything can be taken away from you. But what you've got up here, your education, is the one thing that nobody can ever take away from you. Let them take your certificates. I remember there was a time when somebody, certainly not a woman, told me, oh, you will crawl. I said, who, me? One, you don't know the God I serve. Two, you forget that I can go back to the institutions where I studied and get all my certificates back, even if you take them and burn them. And so I just want to encourage every single young woman in this space, don't miss out ever on an opportunity to add value to yourself. It's not just about formal education. If you have to learn a skill, learn it. If a man tells you stay at home, if it works for you to be there for your children or whatever, you may choose to listen, but don't get content. Don't get confused. Add value to yourself, always and all the time. Because a day may come when nobody would look your way. A day may come when friends and family may turn their backs to you. A day may come, God forbid, if you lost your husband like I did mine, his family and friends would carry on like you don't exist, and you will have your children on your necks. Add value to yourself. And don't ever miss out on opportunity to hold another woman's hand, because you never know what the next woman is going through. Thank you.
Everybody said amen. Are we learning anything? Should we close now? No, I didn't think so. So let's hear Sweetie next. And I will come back to you. So relax, and we'll come back to you. I know. I'll get you fufu. I'll do better than that. Yeah, that was meant to be a private conversation. So, Sweetie, let's hear about your story.
Yeah, I think we should close, because that's the story. Resilience. It's admirable. Thank you for sharing. Well, I'm still getting used to all of this. This Sweetie Abochi started 2 years ago. Before that, I interned at GBC Sports Plus when I was just, 17 in the university. And they immediately put me on TV to read sports news. I enjoyed myself. My father was a broadcaster, producer there. So I grew up watching him do documentaries. And when he came back home, I would just spend the rest of the day with him telling me stories about the great things he'd done. But he passed. My mother wasn't rich, so I had to be self-sufficient. And I saw myself through university, both first degree and my master's degree. So I had to do whatever it took to survive. That meant that a 9-to-5 job, a job in the corporate world where I can actually earn a salary so that I can live off it. And I had younger siblings who were also dependent on me. But like you, it was not enough. One day, I woke up and I thought, what can I do that brings me joy? Or what is it that when I do, I really come alive? And it's just telling stories. It's just telling people something that I discovered either through reading, either through practicing it, or just enlightening someone. It made me come alive in ways that it's incomparable. It cannot be compared to anything. So I woke up one day and I said, let me do Girl Get Up Africa. Let me just bring together all the young women around me who loved to listen to Sweetie and her, they call it, excuse my language, my friends call it Sweetie and her conscious bullshit, because I don't miss the opportunity to tell you that there's greatness inside you. And if you actively participate in making that your reality, then your reality will be greatness. So I organized Girl Get Up Africa, the first seminar in 2020, I think. And right after, my friends and I went to celebrate somewhere in the Volta region. And when we came back, I said to myself, I'm not going back to this corporate life. This is not me. I have something inside of me that the world needs to see. I didn't have any sufficient savings or anything. I went to the office and I told Ivan, my boss, that I'm sorry, but I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. So I quit my job. My mom, hey, wow, you survive, the money. I said, TV will work. My friends, Lisa, Sweetie, what if there's another? I said, don't worry, TV would work. All my friends thought I was crazy because I was crazy. I didn't have money. I was working. I was working a 9-to-5 job. And this is me saying I want to quit and go and be on TV. Having been on TV, knowing that there's not enough money there to live on as a young woman who had other dependents. Right, so I did quit the job. And when I went home, I still remember, every time I remember it, it's like I'm reliving the experience. I stripped myself, sat on the floor, and I said, God Almighty, you didn't bring me this far only to bring me this far. This unquenchable desire in my heart to be a media personality. I've gone round, and I'm back here again. It was in August when we did Girl Get Up seminar. And I said, in September, I'm getting on TV. My niece is there looking at me. They all thought I was crazy. How are you going to do it? I didn't know anybody to call. I didn't have a job offer. So because I said I was going to do this, that passion and belief in myself fueled my actions. The next morning, I went to every TV station I knew, distributing CVs, portfolio, whatever you ask, I got it. And even if I didn't know what you were talking about, I'll read about it and convince you. Well, one of my skills is that I can talk my way into and out of any situation. So I thought, that's it for me. Well, by the last day of August, I got a call from Daily Guide Network saying that, oh, we've seen you, we want to see what you've got, come and interview. And immediately, so September 1st, I was on TV. And I told myself, this has to be the way. I cracked it. I didn't mind that I was going to go broke for a year because they offered to pay me a third of what I was earning in the corporate world. I didn't care. So I actually took the job. I took the job after a year. And I still showed up every day like I was on BBC. You know what I mean? Like, I was reading news on Daily Guide Network, and it was just a 30-minute bulletin. But I'll wake up and show up. Although the money was not good, it didn't come on time and all that. We had its own challenges. But I didn't give up, and I didn't treat that work like it was just something I was doing. For me, it was the first step towards realizing this unquenchable desire I had. So yes, I did go broke. And I lost friends who thought they couldn't hang with me anymore because I can't afford to pay for the trips, can't afford to buy the nice clothes and jewelry and all of that. And then one day I said, I've done this TV thing for a while. I'd like to host a morning show. Well, let me fast forward. One day I was there, I think exactly a year after DGN called me, I got a call from Joy News saying that, we've seen your videos around. Can you come and interview? Now, I don't know if you know Joy News. They're serious people. They scare me. I work there, but they scare me. And, well, I'm the youngest person on their screens, and I'm hosting a morning show, a heavily political show. It's only because I had a dream, and I held on to that dream, and I refused to see obstacles. I refused to let people's opinion influence how I moved. I knew that whatever it was that I was looking for in this life, if I actively participated in creating that reality, then I can only succeed. So what's my story? My story is that of an unquenchable desire. Whatever you think you want to do with your life. I like to say that life is not long or short. Life is finite. It has a beginning and it has an end. So you decide whatever you want to do from the start of your life to the end of it. And once you have clarity on that, nobody else matters. That's what I did. And today I sit here with you. 2 years ago, I was a frustrated account manager and producer, and a lot of people knew me in the industry as a producer girl because I'd produced Ghana's Most Beautiful, co-produced Ghana's Most Beautiful TV3 and all that. But I looked very regular, so they didn't look at me like someone who could be on TV. Nobody noticed me. So if you want to live the extraordinary version of yourself, the person that only exists in your dreams, in your mind, I'm here to tell you that you can. Yes, you absolutely can. All it takes is to hold on to that dream, and you must desire it. That's why I keep saying unquenchable, because life will happen, or life will life you, Life is not supposed to be smooth. And most of the times, the challenges that come our way, it's only to test how badly you want that thing you claim you want. Because if I had focused on how am I going to survive without a salary? How am I going to survive on this small money? How is my mom going to survive? At the time, we had our own challenges. But all I saw was a dream of a girl on TV. If I tell you how old I am, you'll be shocked. But I don't want to tell you. I won't tell you. But today I sit in a room I sit in meetings with people who are twice my age, and when I speak, they nod their head and they tell me how intelligent I am and how they want me to help them do stuff. And And it's because I held on to a dream. I had clarity on what I wanted to do with the finite life that I have, and I went and did it. So my message to you is simply, yes, you can. But how do you do it? How do you achieve it? By having an unquenchable desire. If you like it and you think, oh, maybe I can get to be something when I grow up, and you're lukewarm, you're never going to get it. Nobody becomes successful by accident. They actively participate in creating their reality, which means that you have to have a set of values or the things that are important to you. And every decision you make, you check it off on them and see, does this fall into my trajectory? Does this align with my purpose? Is this the direction of life that I want my life to flow in? So whatever you want to do with your life, as we celebrate International Women's Day today, I'm here, a young girl, morning show host on Joy News, heavily political show, telling you that you can. And all you have to do is hold on to that dream. And yes, there'll be challenges, there'll be obstacles, there'll be people who will be in your ear, people who you value their opinion, who will tell you straight down that you can't do it. Don't listen to them. I call them noise, right? Cut out the noise and focus on your purpose, your goals, and your dream. Maybe as the questions flow, we can get more into it.
Of course. Should we do more or we should close? Oh, we will go on. No, we are not closing. I don't want to close now. All right. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. I mean, I am learning a lot. And I'm old, so if I tell you I'm learning a lot, I'm very old. I like to tell my age like, it's like a sticker on the wall. I'm very old. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I'm 53, going on 54. See? So, now I'm blushing. I wanted to tell my age. All right. So, Sewa, I didn't know you were part of that crew that went all the way to the UK. You see how the narrative is done? It was all the men's affair. Did you hear anything about a woman with the team? I didn't till later, right? So we are going to be rewriting Ghana's history from today. And in every storytelling we do, I think we have to chip in a little about a woman. That is how we can rewrite these amazing stories that we've heard so far. So tell us about your own story and journey today.
Hello? Great. Yes. So, yes, rewriting Ghana's history. I believe most of our inspiring stories in the past has been buried in the past because we didn't have maybe perhaps such conferences to celebrate these women, platforms to celebrate these women. We are very quick on mentioning the negatives, but that's for another day. My name is Nana Ifwasewe Duse. I chose to be an auto technician because of a platform like this. Once upon a time, when I looked around, I noticed that it was only people who were termed to be unintelligent or school dropouts who would be very quickly preferred to go to learn a skill, kusua ejuma, kusua depam, kusua fite ejuma. I felt there had to be a change. Why? Because clearly we have a huge competency gap when it comes to our skills industry. The auto industry there is terrible. For us to want to even import foreigners to come and work on our cars, build cars here, that shows a huge deficit. So my calling was very much on the fact that I do not think, and I strongly believe that just because you don't do well in school doesn't mean you are not intelligent enough to to go on to progress in life. So school dropout shouldn't be termed, or let me put it this way. The technical skills, vocational skills is not a reserve for school dropouts. Please let that sink in. When your ward comes to you and says, Mommy, I think I want to do carpentry, but in your heart of hearts, because Mommy always wanted to be a doctor, she wants to make sure all her children become doctors or engineers or accountants. But 2024, there are lots of pathways. There are lots of ways to make money. When I was growing up, we called it Osiesie Funu. Now it's called makeup artistry. And they make a killing. So then a lot of things have changed. So what am I saying? Dear young minds, dear young men, young girls in the room, yes, you might choose a course now because your parents are paying for it. You might choose a course now because it was what you could get into. But it doesn't mean you should let go of your passion. I started out as a general arts student. I did geography, economics, nothing to do with engineering. As a matter of fact, even when they had told me I'll be a fitini, I'll just laugh. It wasn't in line with my dream. I always wanted to work with the UN. I'm passionate about speaking for the marginalized. I was inspired by Kofi Annan, the late Kofi Annan, and now Nana Adjumani-Rawlings. Growing up and watching her on TV, she was a very good resemblance of strong women and resilience, and she portrayed that a lot. Hence, my decision to look up to her. So, dear young minds, as you're growing up, it's very important to have mentors. It's very important to, as you close your eyes and see yourself to be whoever you want to be, make sure you get close to someone who is already in that space to make it easy for you to get there, to hold your hand and take you there. So that's one. Now, when I was in school, I made sure I wouldn't just go through the same path, study hard, get your grades. No, I put myself very much in the school activities. I'll play basketball for the school because it gave me free accommodation and some provisions. So there are lots of opportunities on campus that you can take advantage of. I joined the radio station, part-time job. That wasn't giving me money, but it was building my confidence and exposure. I was very much involved in student politics, again, from me wanting to speak for the marginalized. I won't mention the political party. So I was very much in student politics. As a matter of fact, my second year, I was a WUCOM, and my assistant was final year students. So then I would even let you know I'm that young, because I was very bold. I would speak up. I was very eloquent too. Perhaps it was through my training, through what I would say, the many beauty pageants that I participated in. So these things build your confidence a lot. So please, as you're going through UPSA or all the other institutions that you might find yourself in, get involved in the extracurriculum activities of your school, because that is where you start building your network. I'm sure you hear people say your network is your net worth. So most times, it's not because you finished with the highest GPA or your first class, but because of the people you knew whilst you were in school, the contacts that you made, the accomplices that you made whilst you're in school, that is what helps you. A lot of big women here will tell you that the decisions and employment offers are not made in the offices. As a matter of fact, they are made at churches, golf courses, restaurants, hotels. That is where these opportunities come. So whilst you're in school, take advantage of the extracurricular activities that are going on here. Fast forward, I decided to join a company that fixed cars, because at the time I needed money to pay for my law school. Now, when I joined as regular office assistant. My job was to print out invoices and chase after monies, people that don't pay their bills. That was typical woman role. But I noticed that whenever the owner had to travel, he felt the need to close down the business. Why? Because he didn't think we were competent enough. Now, this is where competency as a woman also comes in. Most times we say, oh, we self-sabotage a lot. But then I make sure that when people come in, they will stop saying, is Chris around, to now saying, is Nana around? Because I always make sure that I'm reading twice as much, I'm asking the workers questions, I'm getting hands-on. I'm taking particular interest in what the workers are doing so that if a customer walks in, I won't be just blank. I'll be able to tell you what your car needs. I'll give you an example. So we had a customer come in all the way from Tema to where I worked at Jolu because he had some lights on the dashboard. So he drove all the way. Is Chris around? I say no. Oh, okay, then I'll come later. Oh, how may I help you? Oh, you're bad. Then now that was his first reaction. Like, please give me the opportunity. How may I help you? Then he showed me what was wrong with his car. Guess what? When you ship in a vehicle and they have to put clearly on the ship, they, how should I call it? They deflate the tires so it doesn't roll. So what he had to do was simply inflate it. But because he doesn't know this, he drove all the way from Tema. And it took me, a young girl, to tell him what the car needed, what was wrong. So the story in here is, just because you are doing office work doesn't mean you shouldn't read wide. So just because you are doing computer science, you are doing IT, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be interested in what goes on in the fire service industry, what goes on in immigration. You should be knowledgeable. The whole idea of having a first degree really is for you to be open enough to consume other things. That's the essence of having your first degree in your tertiary education. So yes, as they've all mentioned, what they learned in school isn't particularly what they are working with because they had open minds, right, to be able to do a lot more. So that is the story in here. So I'm sure as we progress, I'll be able to open up more and tell you more about it. But before I hand over the microphone, the name Shikanic, I want you all to resonate with it. She can. I tell myself every day that as Shikanic, I can do anything I set my mind and my heart to. So all of you here are Shikanics. And when you wake up in the morning and you think about all the tasks you have to do during the day or even the week, tell yourself, yes, I can, because you're a Shikanic. Thank you.
Yes, we can. I am a Shikanic. There we go. So, I think you make yours brief so we can do a lot more.
Exactly what I was going to say, because my story is, they just told my story
to that.
As individuals.
Okay.
And to make it brief, I remember in the year 2022, after Sunyani Polytechnic, writing my final exams, I got home and I was pregnant.
Oh.
And as usual, mommy and daddy wouldn't be happy with you. But I was waiting for my results anyway. And anytime I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is to visit my mirror. And the song I love to listen to and still do, they played it here a few minutes ago by Becca, Woman. So anytime I stand in front of the mirror, I tell myself, is this indeed the end? Then I ask myself, before you can speak to someone, you have to put yourself in their shoes. Okay, so I'm educated, but this is where I find myself. How about those young girls who get pregnant and they think that's the end for them? So I sing Woman all the time in the morning. I speak to my girl, my first daughter. And then I told myself that I wanted to become Miss World for Ghana. I loved pageantry. If you don't find me in the kitchen, the next place will be the television, watching Miss World. Because I definitely thought and knew that I would become one. But that was the situation I found myself. So I remember sitting with my dad at the dining hall, and they were showing Ghana's Most Beautiful. And my dad said, "Say also be," and I said, "Why am Miss Beautiful?" in a nice way. And I said, "No, I'll prove you wrong." That's what I told my dad. So when the baby came, I carried the baby to my first GMB audition, and I got to the top 2 for Eastern Region. But I was not selected. I went for the second time, got to the top 2, I was not selected. The third time, Auntie Linda saw me. I always go there with my baby anyway. Auntie Linda saw me and said, "Ifwa, I think you are bigger than GMB. What I see in you, you don't have to focus on GMB." And I said, "Okay." So the first thing I did was to, reassess myself. This shouldn't be a barrier. I need to be an example to those young girls out there who, by mistake or by no mistake, are in this situation. And then I came up with Asa Ushers, an ushering agency. I thought it was just an ushering agency, but apparently I was serving people more than the ushers that I employed. I could work for anybody, and that's where I bring in service, serving and paying your dues as and when it's needed. So I really served a lot of people. And then fast forward, I said, okay, I wanted to become a journalist and a lawyer, even though now I don't want to do the law again. It's too long, about 7 years or so. So I decided that I want to do journalism, and then I went to Ghana Institute of Journalism. But I was not, sometimes I'll be in school and I'll be working at the same time. So most of my mates know me. Sometimes they have to do my work for me, and then I'll be doing my ushering business elsewhere. In the process, I heard of Miss Tourism Ghana. And then I read the rules and regulations. If you have a child, you cannot participate in a beauty party. I said, this is not right. Of course I have a child, but I'm still capable of doing this. So I went, I participated, I told my parents, you know what, this is your responsibility, take care of my girl for me, it's time for me. And then I placed second there. Then I said, okay, whatever it is I put my mind to, I've achieved it. Although I did not win, it's just, being in the second position is not easy. So what next? Then I said back to journalism. When I went there, it's a big space, and nobody would easily welcome you. Okay, you are in, come and take the screen. So what do? I need to create my own platform. And I think at the age of 26, I started producing my own TV show called Queen Sarina. I was using it to promote women entrepreneurs for free on Joy Prime and then Angel TV. So after that, I set up a real business. This is because at multimedia, I worked with multimedia for my national service and then for, I think, a period of 3 or 4 years. I met a lot of people, but one woman that I always looked up to was Gifty Auntie. So I read about her, I followed her story, everything, that's what I do. If I look up to you, I make sure that I read, I get to know who you are, the challenges you've been through. So sometimes when it becomes wavy and muddy, I go like, this is what she did. She didn't care. So let me do the same thing, and I do that. So I opened my company, and I told myself that nobody held my hand as at that time when I was in crisis. The only person I could look up to was my mom, and she is a very hardworking woman. So what do I do for the next generation? How do I celebrate women that I look up to, that through them I became, or I am becoming whatever I want to become? Then the award scheme came. Celebrating women who impact society and impact lives. And with the reality shows, especially the Miss Kiddie, is to guide the young girls who aspire to become beauty queens like myself, who do not have anyone to support them, and also help them with public speaking. So when you pick her story, adding value to yourself comes in at a point where you think that it has ended for you, and then her story is being uncomfortable. I don't like being comfortable anyway. And then yours, you know, you want to become this, but that might not be your purpose. Your purpose might be way different from your career. So in all, I would say that, I didn't talk about the Guinness World Record. For that, I'll share it in our Q&A. Later. But all I'll say is that, let me add all the 3 stories, including mine.
Don't do my work for me. Yeah.
We are, okay, the 4 of us, employed. I would say that go for it. And whatever you put your mind to, just make sure that you do it and don't listen to anybody except your instinct.
Shut out the noise. So let's clap for them, the first round. I am already ready to hit the world with all I have learned. But I believe we need to speak to the subject matter. So rewriting Ghana's history. And this question is for all of you, whoever wants to go first. How can we do that as women to rewrite Ghana's history with a focus on us as women? Yes.
I'll take that. I did mention early on that it's very important for us to tell our stories. History is a compilation of stories that have been written by people. half of them were not women. And even if there are women involved, they do not tell their stories. It's about time that women began to tell their own stories. It's about time that women were deliberate about telling the stories of other women and documenting it. So many great women have gone through life and died without anyone knowing their stories. Stories that would have carried great value, stories that would have impacted lives, and nobody gets to hear about it. We need to start documenting our stories and literally rewriting it. It's so important. We can't take that for granted. We need to amplify each other's voices. See, men don't wait for anyone to tell their stories. Men are very comfortable talking about their achievements. But women are a bit too modest when it comes to our achievements. And I think that we need to start doing things differently henceforth. It's one thing having gatherings like this. It's one thing having all the beautiful International Women's Day celebrations. But we need to cut the talk and swing into action. Because if we do not do it, nobody is going to do it for us. So we need to take the reins to rewrite Ghana's story, to include women and the great things that women have done and continue to do. We literally need to leverage all our resources, harness all the channels that we possibly can to literally rewrite and tell that story.
Okay. Thank you. I want to add my voice to that. I've watched Chimamanda Adichie's TEDx on the dangers of a single story so many times that I think I can recite it to you if you give me the time. But something she said about if we only have one single story, then we are limiting ourselves, our development, and our growth. Reflect in how we can rewrite Ghana's story. So as women, I can, off the top of my head, there are 3 reasons why we might be shy or not forward with our stories. 1, we are afraid we'll be shamed, or we might think that our stories are not good enough, or we are simply not confident enough to show up as our story, as a product of our story. So, how do we rewrite Ghana's story? By failing forward, by embracing shame, and by being a whole woman. So, if you accept that, yes, you're a woman, yes, you have a story, and yes, you can show up and tell your story regardless of who thinks it's trivial, then the other side of the story gets told. Then you are not leaving the story to only the men to tell it. Then you are not leaving the story to the people who only think that their stories are worth sharing. The only way we turn the story around is to also shed light on our side of the stories. Because Madam Catherine said that we are actually doing things together. We are just not celebrating it. So when we start celebrating ourselves as women, when we start sharing our stories, sharing the story of the next woman, then we are populating the diverse stories that already exist with ours. Then it's no longer the dangerous one story that the world knows. The world will begin to know our story as women, Ghanaian women who are resilient, who are strong, who are tenacious, who are breaking barriers, and even dominating male-dominated industries. So how do we rewrite a story? By telling our stories. That's what I think.
Okay. I think after telling the stories, we need to act. I may not have at hand the percentage of formal educational women in the country and non-formal women. But I believe that it's about time we create a common platform, not necessarily for just us, but bringing on board the informal, creative women as well. Because we might tell the story, but for me, anytime you tell the story, I want to see you do it. Because that is where I can confidently say that she said it and she did it. So I believe that to change Ghana's story, yes, you have to go to school. And of course, you mentioned that you have to also appreciate the informal sector. So we should welcome the informal sector as well. Collectively, I think that it will be a strong force to make our story complete. Thank you.
So that said, what stereotypes as women do we have to battle with? And considering your own journeys, what stereotypes have you had to battle to get to?
I want to go first.
Please do.
When I joined the morning show, there was just one guy who was hosting it, and the producer was a man, the director is a man. It's like a masculine team. They're all men, and I was the only woman. I was young, and I'm a woman. And so when they're talking about interviews and who goes to sit for an exclusive with someone, they never really consider me, you know. And one time I asked, and they said, oh, now what about it? I said, you know, they can handle it. And I thought, what? Okay, I'll show you. And I did. I showed them by killing one interview in a way that the men would have. I did it because I realized that if I didn't show up for myself like that, they will always leave me to do the fancy, not low, but the fun bits of the show and not the hardcore parts of the show. So the stereotype was the men handle the political, the hardcore bits of the industry. You know, when you talk about who is going to sit with the finance minister, they'll mention a man's name. When you talk about who is going to sit with the president, an ambassador to Ghana, they'll mention a man's name to sit with that person for an exclusive. But I've decided that I do not want to be defined by that. And so what we can change the narrative by being equally as good or better than the men. It's the only way you will defeat the stereotype. And yes, you will encounter lots of scenarios where someone will tell you that, oh, you're a woman. Even when you're driving in town and you speed past a man driving, it's as if you hurt their ego. So they want to overtake you to, prove to you that you are a woman, you cannot overtake me.
I can relate.
Or me, I'll go. You know what I mean? So you will encounter lots of stereotypes, like I did when I joined. Now they don't see me that way anymore. They just see me, oh, sweetie, she can handle it. And yes, I can handle it because I proved myself. So the stereotypes will come, but make sure that you're showing up competent, as good, or better than whoever they're comparing you to. Thank you.
To you, Nana Sewa, let me just add, how have you, I don't even know who defined roles as male-dominated, I can relate though. This story is yours to tell, so. How do you navigate in the industry where you find yourself? How do you navigate the stereotype around?
Well, as Sweetie mentioned, competency is the main thing. Most times, just because you're wearing a skirt, they assume you can't do it. If I'm to tell you the number of times I get to the gas station and they assume, oh, if I need to change something with my battery, like, oh, madam, I'm in mouth. And I'll just smile. Meanwhile, he's doing it wrong. I have to just smile and watch him do it, mess it up, and then I'll correct it. It is, once you're in skirts, we just assume you cannot do it. So it's up to you to by showing them that you can do it, is by learning twice as much. And also not just for them, but for yourself. See it as not a challenge, but an opportunity to learn. That's how I've chosen to see it. It is not a challenge. Well, it used to be. Give you an example. One time, somebody came to the shop, a driver. He's been asked to bring his car to Shikane. He comes in and he says, I'm looking for Nana. I'm Nana, and in Ghana, Nana could be both Oba and Obama. So I'm looking for Nana. And I say, oh, how may I help you? With a smile. No, go call me Nana. I'm looking for Nana. Because he comes in expecting that it has to be a man. Because if you're supposed to take your car to a fitting shop, the owner is Nana, it has to be a man. So I made him sit down for about 30 minutes. So I went back and said, it's either you let us do your car for you, or you have to say, oh, now you're Nana, now I can't share me. So these are the things I go through on a daily basis. I'll give another example. I sprayed a vehicle for someone. It took about 3 weeks. He took the car home, very happy with the work. 12 midnight, 1-ish a.m., he calls and says, Nana, I can't open my fuel tank. What did you do to the car? So just because a woman has sprayed his car, there must be something wrong. So it's obvious that you've been away from your vehicle for a while. Or maybe your car, you just got it, so you don't know where some of these buttons are. So I had to take him through it. Oh, okay, Medase. So these are the things, competency. They just assume we cannot do it because we are women. And I found a way to go around it by just taking it calmly, just smile, show them that, hey, you can do it, but not fighting your way. Don't try and be, oh, yeah, I can prove it. No, just smile. Take advantage of the fact that they think you're a woman and smile your way through.
Okay. I remember last year, 8th March, I was in Côte d'Ivoire, and we were putting together the Africa Outstanding Women Awards. I go to most of the companies, the institutions, and they ask me, who is your boss? Who are you here with? I'm like, I'm my own boss. No. Who is sponsoring your event? I said, I'm sponsoring my own. Okay. So until the day of the event, they could not believe that a woman was there to do this. To cross all the way from Ghana to a Francophone, I couldn't speak French anyway. I used the Google Translator. For a month, I put that event together. So I believe that it's up to us to change that narrative. It will be there. Even at home, with your husband or even with your son, even as little as they are, sometimes they want to put you to test and challenge you. Mommy, you can't do this. I'm the boy. So it's up to us to, create these platforms and continue to tell each and every one that we can do it. Yes, we can.
I'm not supposed to be adding on, but I would like to add on. I believe that in the socialization in the homes, with our young children, the young boys, I believe it starts from there as well. I think we socialize them to say, you don't come to the kitchen. You go play with the hard things, the hard toys and all of that. And then the young girl is the one who's dragged. I think our parents and the parents before did that. But in rewriting that, I think we could start with that, with our children or whoever it is that we are, we are socializing. When that is done, I believe, we grow up and the gender rules that I think that stops, and then we'll be on the road where we take our place as women. Ivy, you wanted to?
Yes, I do. I'm going to add my voice to this, but in a slightly different tone. I personally refuse to acknowledge what people see as stereotypes. I focus on what I need to do, and I do it. And I do not allow myself to be distracted by anybody's thinking of me being a woman or anyone thinking that a man can do something better. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And for example, if I was standing by a carousel at the airport and there was a man standing next to me, I would politely smile and ask him to help me to lift the bag. Let him do the heavy lifting. I don't have a problem with that. But when it comes to the application of what's here, my intelligence, that is not even a conversation for anyone to judge, whether it's a man or a woman. When I walk into a room full of men, I walk in fully equipped. So whether they like it or not, I will speak and they will listen. And I think that's where sometimes we fall short. We need to focus on building ourselves, and I can't say it enough. We need to focus on building ourselves up. We need to be the mavens. See, Nana walks in, and she does what she has to do, and the man will salute her. Sweetie walks in, and she does what she has to do, and the men themselves, in their hearts of hearts, would know who the boss is at that table. And I think that's what we need to do as women. Ignore the men. Let them do their thing. But focus on having a foot forward all the time. And focus on building the confidence and the courage to put yourself out there and put it out there in the right way. A lot of the time, you know, and I've walked into several spaces where a woman would come in, and that's not to say that our curves and our beauty is nothing to write home about. Of course, it's God's gift to us, and it's everything to write home about. But that's not what we're bringing to the table. That's a gift. And like it was said in the sketch early on, that's a gift that God has given to the woman. Nobody can do anything about it. But that should not be the focal point. You know, we need to dress the way that we wish to be addressed. We need to carry ourselves in a way that commands the respect that we're looking for. But if we fall short in doing that, then I'm sorry, we're going to be dealing with a whole lot more than we wish to deal with. And I think it's totally unnecessary. So let's focus on putting our best foot forward all the time, and people will respect us for the value that we bring to the table, rather than constantly looking over our shoulder and thinking, oh, because I'm a woman, this person said this. No, they are saying it because they are unintelligent, not because I'm a woman.
You heard it from here, from UPSC, the auditorium, from our intelligent panel. You heard it first from here. So, I am taking you straight to the political space. I have seen it. I've heard it said. We haven't encouraged women enough to play in that space because it's considered not a safe space. How can we encourage more women? I believe at the last elections for the various parties, the number of women who Honorable has left, so I would have thrown that at her. The number has reduced significantly from, I believe we started with a figure of 1326 and it increased to 30-something and then 40 eventually. Now we've lost more. How do we encourage more women into that space? Because when legislation is made, we need women in there who will speak for us, looking at the issues from our point of view. So how do we encourage more participation of women in that space?
All right, so I had the opportunity to be part of ECOWAS Women Conference in Abuja, and this was the topic for that conference. Yeah. How we can encourage more women and younger women to participate, to take place in Parliament. And first of all, we would not ride over, or we have to acknowledge the fact that the men are more. And to get in there, you have to ride on that together. Because I remember I approached one of them and I said, you know what, in my constituency, the MP there is not working. No markets, bad roads, all that. I feel I could do better. How do I get in there? You need a big man to do that for you. Why that? All right. In my space as event industry, we go to sponsors. We meet influencers who we want to encourage to come and help us. And like she said, how you present yourself in the first place is how you're being addressed. So I always tell myself that there is the notion that anytime a man wants to help a woman, there should be a sexual conversation. But in my story, I make sure that it's different. And that is where we need to start from, because we need the men to equally assist us, even though we have the capacity to be in those spaces. But how do you sell your vision, your dream, your potential to a potential helper to help you through that space? You need to present yourself as an intelligent person with a plan. All I'm saying is that to get into that space, as we discussed there, we need these leaders who have been in that space to hold our hands, not in a negative way.
Right. I think when it comes from my little experience that I've gathered so far playing in the political field, when it comes to politics, a lot of it is history and showmanship, those two things. So how much do you know about a particular issue? For instance, this SML deal versus GRA and KPMG and stuff. The men have time to get into the nitty-gritties of every little thing that somebody said. They have time for it. But women, we just read the headlines. Okay, so GRA went into contract with this person and they did that. All right, that's fair. But the difference between, for instance, Sam George and Sarah Joasafo is that Sam George has history. He knows exactly what was said at what point, and he will bring it up, and the way he will deliver it with the showmanship. Because Sarah Joasafo does not have all that history, she appears, I'm not saying she appears shallow when it comes to her depth of knowledge in the field. So how do we change that narrative? To take time and understand the issues. And the women in parliament, the women in power, those who are ahead of us, they will help with those coming if they're able to demonstrate that being a woman is not a limitation to being able to compete on the same level with the men in parliament. If they spend the time to understand the issues and also able to debate, show up and debate with the history, with the showmanship, the same way that the men do it. It's just a little more time, a little attention, more to detail, and that way, there's nobody who will say that just because you're a woman, you don't know your stuff. Know the issues. Take your time and understand the issues. And hopefully, one day, we will be the majority in parliament.
Let me quickly add to what she said. When she spoke about the difference between Sam George and the other lady, what stood out to me is Sam George, I'm sure, has a very good team that puts together the research. So it's about the team you surround yourself with, the people you put together in the room. Now, let me bring it down to the academic space. If you're doing your thesis or your final year thesis where you have to defend, you put you in groups. So that is where you start building that research, the ability to do a lot of research, learning and reading wide. And also is interest-based. Sadly, women, when they get to the top, I mean, I don't want to be the one to say it, but they are not looking at being excellent at what they do. Just because you're a woman and you are there, yes. Now, the world is pushing women to get to the top. So, yeah, we can ride on that way. But while she gets to the top, make it such that they would say, oh, it's because of this woman that it's made it easy for a lot of girls to also get there. Don't just get to the top and think because you're a woman and everybody should applaud you because you're a woman, nobody should touch you. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to be credible, and you have to make it easy for other women to also come there. Unfortunately, because our women in politics are not working as much as they should, we don't have a good say now. Yes, we might be saying get women there, but when they get to the top, what do? So there's one thing saying you're a woman and you should get there, but please, young ladies here, you will all get to the top. Ladies in the uniform, you will always get to the top. But then when you get to the top, please put some integrity, put some excellence, make it look good, show working. Don't let it be easy, because she had to do some dubious things to get to the top. Let it be known that you are hardworking and you come to the top with so much brilliance. So, yeah.
And just to add that the political space, unfortunately, in this part of the world has become a playground for mudslinging. People attack you when you subject yourself to become a leader. And one thing I'd like to say to the young women is to have a vision. You see, when you know that you're going from UPSA to Kotoka International Airport, when you exit the gate, you know that you have to take either turns, but you know that if you took the turn towards Presec or the University of Ghana Business School and you arrived at the traffic light, when you know that Kotoka International Airport is where you're going, you know you have to take the left turn. And if you know you're going to the Aburi Gardens, you have to turn right. A lot of us do not have a clear vision of where we're going. We don't have a vision of leadership. And so we live our lives haphazardly. And we give people ammunition. We give people the mud to sling at us when we arrive in that place where we have decided that this leadership role is what I'm going after. If you don't give people evidence of water on your feet, the people who are looking to attack you are not going to say, oh, I saw water on her feet. It means that she was swimming in the gutter. Have a vision. Understand your purpose. Know what it is you want to achieve in life. Where you are today is not where you're going to stay forever. And know that there's a high propensity, especially as a UPSA graduate, that you are going to get to the top. And so conduct your life in a manner that does not give fodder to the haters when the day comes. Don't give them mud to sling at you. And secondly, you have to be courageous. If you do not have the courage, you cannot venture into leadership. If you do not have the confidence, you cannot venture into leadership. If you do not have the commitment to that vision of becoming a leader and impacting other women, you cannot venture into that space. A word to the wise is in the UPSC auditorium.
Yes, indeed. I believe my last question before we invite the audience, we've left them out for too long. We have to get them involved. Is there a particular woman who has influenced you? Why? How? And how can you, in your own way, impact those young women who are listening to you? So, any of you, is there somebody whose life has inspired you so much as a woman? And
Okay. I said it earlier on, and that is Ohenere Gifty Auntie. I looked up to her so much that I wanted to be on TV every day. So probably I'll chase after you now. And she's been of great impact to me. I remember 2 years ago, I was hosting an event at the Plush Tank Palace Hotel. I dared myself to cover a pool for the event, and it was a total mess up. The guests were there, and there was a carpenter in the pool, nailing and, putting everything together. She was just behind me, rubbing my back. And as a little girl, I was seeing her on TV, but I made sure that I looked for her, and I made sure I told her that she is the woman that I look up to, and she became a mentor. So she has really inspired me, and she still does. But there's one person here who recently did that for me, and that's her. I remember in my box during the sing-a-thon, anytime I'm sleeping and I'm dozing off, as soon as I open my eyes, I see her right in front of the mirror. Wake up, let's go. And I didn't know her from anywhere. And since then, she's been an inspiration. So it's Gifty and then Shikan.
Women supporting women. Thank you for that.
For me, I have lots of women that I look up to. But I want to tell the story of how I even started knowing these women that I follow, particularly Lisa Nichols. She's, I don't know if you know Lisa Nichols, motivational speaker, $1 million woman. She's made so much money. But I am one of 9 girls. We are 10 siblings, 1 boy, 9 girls. And yeah, we are a lot of girls. When I was growing up, I saw the difference between the life that my eldest sister had and the life that the remaining ones had. I knew right then that I knew then which way I wanted to go, So I wanted the finer things in life. And so I got curious about what does she do? What makes her rich? What makes the other person poor? What makes this person achieve everything she tells me she's going to get? And what inhibits the other group from not getting to heights that I think they can get to? So my elder sister, lawyer Irina Bochinyahe, Director of Legal Affairs Ghana, from a very young age, I saw how, although she was born by the same man, we were all born poor, but she was able to rise to become a lawyer, build her own legal firm and do all the great things. And I swore then and there that my life is going to be fine like that. And so out of that curiosity of why the difference between people who actually go and get things done and people who just lament about how tough life is and how life is never serving them apples, just lemons, it opened my eyes to a myriad, lots of women out there. Talk of Oprah, talk of Lisa Nichols, talk of Nanaba Namwa, even recently, Bella Mundi. You know, the reason I even went home and thought that I wanted to actually get back into television was I went to the BU conference one time, and she just playfully said someone should open the show for her. At that time, I'd given up on TV. A girl needed to survive. And I took the microphone and I did it, and she was there. Wow, I have goosebumps. She's good. She's really good. And since then, every time I see Bella on the screens, I'm like, this girl, she did it for me, you know. So there are lots of women, and for me, it's just a decision that I do not want to be on the other side of life. I want to be on the finer parts. And so that's how come, you know, I'm sitting here talking to you. Thank you.
Do you think every young person or women here, do you think we all need somebody to look up to inspire us on our journey? Do you think young people who don't have anybody should look out for somebody who can inspire them, and why?
Absolutely. Because the thing about coaching or mentorship is that when life gets tough or you get confused, finding clarity is not an easy feat, right? Before you actually realize and get clarity on exactly what you want to do with life, you would have tried a number of things. But when you have one person or a couple of people whose stories inspire you, or who you can go to and say that, I've done A, B, C, but when I got here, I got this hiccup. How did you navigate it? Or show me how to move out of this place. These mentors and coaches, they will not show you anything that will land you in trouble because you are looking up to them. And there is no woman, I'm yet to meet a woman whom I sought advice, who gave me bad advice. They say women like to pull each other down, but I have never experienced that before. Honestly, I've never met a woman who was envious of me or wanted me to do bad in life. So when you have a mentor or coach, someone to just look up to, someone who has your interest at heart and is willing to share their life with you by inspiring you and sharing their knowledge and wisdom with you, it goes a long way to ease your journey for you. Because it's not easy. Life is not supposed to be easy. But a coach, a mentor, someone you can go to and say that work is hard. How do I tell my boss that he should keep his hands off me without sounding disrespectful? Someone who's experienced, more experienced than you, it augurs well for you on your journey. So yes, absolutely. You need someone in your life who you can go to when it gets tough.
Okay, just to add a few stuffs. I think that identifying your mentor is also key. You cannot be in hair field and pick a mentor as an actress as a mentor. So you need to be selective and know that whoever you are taking or picking as a mentor is in line with what you do. Because most of the time we want to be like her because she's this figure now, but probably she would have helped me because of my line of interest. So selecting mentors, you need to be specific and know which mentor fits your path that you want to take.
Mentoring and coaching is important, and my sisters here have spoken about that. I would take this down a different route also. That generally in life, sometimes all a girl needs is that one cheerleader who would say to her, you will be fine. Things will be okay. You need to be mindful of the people that you generally surround yourself with. It may not be this pivotal figure that you're looking up to as, your role model, or even someone that you have a mentoring relationship with. But you need to have a certain individual in your life who, when you run to, when you feel like giving up in that master's degree, when you feel like putting your PhD on the shelf, when you feel like, no, these assignments are too difficult, the classroom is not for me, when you feel like this skill I'm trying to acquire is a bit too much, I want to give up, you need somebody who would say to you, you can do it. For you to be that she-canic talks about, it takes a certain voice to inspire you, to sow that seed in your head. And a lot of the time, a woman who understands your life is the person who can impact your life the most. So definitely look out for somebody. It doesn't have to be a formal, mentoring relationship, but you should know that there's somebody you can always run to when that day comes and you need to hear those words, you can do it.
Right, I think let's clap for them. And it's been one-sided. Please raise your hand. The mic will come to you. If you have a question, you must have a question.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Josephine Edem Vigbedo, final year student of UPSA. My question is very brief. Women are told to tone down, be very soft, very feminine, like the opposite of men. I want to know how to go about that because I have been labeled bitter before just because I showed rage or I showed my emotions. I do not know how to go about it. So if there's any tips or advice, I appreciate it.
I think that I have a piece of advice for you, Josephine. It's very easy to get distracted when you allow your emotions to have the best of you. My advice to you is this: be yourself, of course be yourself, but don't give anybody so much power as to affect your emotions and to get you enraged to the point that you're derailed from whatever it is you're trying to achieve at every point in time. So the greatest gift you can give to yourself, as far as that's concerned, is to learn some emotional intelligence skills. You need to learn to be able to calm yourself down when people are pushing your buttons. And do not react to people. Do not. I used to be like that. But I learned that whenever people are pushing my buttons and provoking me, they are telling me a lot about themselves and nothing about me. And so I would calm down. I would allow you to call me whatever names you want to call me, to say whatever you want to say to me, and I would bring you back to the points that I'm making. Do not get affected. Don't give people power over you. Don't let people use your emotions to derail you from achieving the heights that you wish to achieve. Because if you allow it, that's exactly what's going to happen. So you need to control the emotions. That's the one thing the men have over us. We get emotional, and then we get distracted, and then we get derailed.
We begin to cry.
Exactly.
I want to add something. A year ago, I was at Women in PR where I heard you speak. And at that point, I was still someone you can describe as an I have zero tolerance. I think I can identify with what you're talking about. But I never got enraged. But I'll tell you exactly what's on my mind. And then you said, I quote what you said, that when someone pushes me to my limits, I will sit there giving you the respect you don't deserve. True or false? That was exactly what you said. I took that over a year ago. And every time someone pushed me, in my head, give this person the respect they don't deserve. So I'll sit there and smile, have a nice smile. I'll just smile at you. But after, I'll make sure I tell you exactly what you did, how it made me feel, and how next time I think you should handle it. I'll use it as a teaching moment to teach you how to control yourself or how to relate to people. So yes, absolutely do that. But also, I think that a little bit of rage is needed in life, okay? Sometimes people really test you. You don't have to go crazy, okay? Just to know when to show it and when not to show it. Where to show it and where not to show it. But most importantly, learn to keep yourself calm when people are really testing you. But if you must, first, give them the respect they don't deserve. Don't meet them with the same rage or the same temptation they're bringing to you. And then after, let them know that, and your guy.
Thank you. I'm Mary. Please, my question has to do with balance. How well do you balance your life as a woman in terms of career, family? How do you balance it? Because sometimes you got married and as a single lady, you were having some vision, pain. But after getting married, you realize that raising the children, a whole lot. So at times you cannot really hope that maybe this vision will come true. So how well a career woman or as a married woman can do the balancing in terms of career and family?
All right. I think it starts from, if you're talking about the marriage itself, it starts from who you aspire to settle with or who you want to settle with in the first place. And as women, we are fortunate to have quite a number of men to decide on who we want to settle with in most cases. In my case, a few of them, I decide to sit down and have a conversation with you. This is what I want to do. This is the path I want to go. Some will tell you, no, you have to stay at home and take care of the kids. Others will tell you, I won't make time to do this for you whilst you're doing that. But if you find the partner who is very supportive, as I sit here, my husband is with the kids at home. He understands that I need to be here to do this. And even the kids understand that I'm here for this reason. So I think it starts from who you want to walk this path with. And if he's understanding and will go, sometimes even along the line, they fall back and they decide to, at a point, wonder why you are rising so fast. But I think it's communication and letting the person know, share your dreams, your aspirations together. Even if he wouldn't buy into it, you should know that life is full of stages. You cannot say because of your dreams and because the kids will worry you will not go after your dreams. No. And you cannot also say because of your dreams you are not going to have kids. So it's about planning, it's about communication, it's about being discerning, am I right? And knowing the right person that you want to work with.
I will attempt to answer you even though I'm not married. Now, I believe we stop learning when we grow. We stop learning when we grow. When you are young, you learned how to crawl, then you learned how to walk, before you learned how to sit. Why do you need to lose your individuality because you're married? That's one. And yes, sir, you become bitter. When the kids are gone to school, what do? You just become housemates? No. So even though you're married, you should still carry on with your interests, not in the way that you are rebelling, but nothing stops you from taking the dance class. Nothing stops you from taking baking class. Now, there's online courses you can. So I think we should move away from our comfort zones, really. I'm a mechanic. I'm learning how to play the violin. I ride motorcycle. What else? I skate. I do all these things because I am intentional about it. The riding helps me to distress. It is the most relaxing thing to do. It doesn't look it, but it's very relaxing. So it helps me to distress. So coming back to you, you need to be intentional about it because you cannot say because I'm married, touch wood, something happens and you're not together, you become bitter. We have a lot of people who are angry, not because the marriage broke, but because they have built their world around the marriage so much that without the marriage, they are almost nothing. That shouldn't be our case. We are women. We are resilient. We go for what we are mentally fortified. So please, do not lose your individuality because you're married. Yeah.
Banana, wait. After learning the online course and she wants to put it into practice, what does she do with the kids? You can learn. When you're married, you can learn. We learn all that. But when you have to come here and the kids are home and you have to be with, how do you do it? I've never had a nanny. I have never had a nanny.
Coming back to what I said, come out of your comfort zone. If you want to do it, there's nothing that will stop you.
When you get there, you understand.
But when Effa wanted to sing for that many days, nothing stopped her. That should be the same attitude that we have. If you really want it, water always finds its path. Nothing stops water from flowing.
Just to add something to what my sisters here have said, when you've got a husband and children, when you've got a family, life can be quite hard. There are 3 things that I learned. You've got to learn to manage yourself. People say manage your time. I say you can't manage your time because your time is 24 hours. You can't add anything to it or take anything off it. But you need to manage yourself by prioritizing so that you're able to do as much as possible within the time that you have. And sometimes when we're educated to a certain level, we think we've achieved so much. We're afraid to ask for help. And sometimes people make us feel as if we're weak when we ask for help. My dear, ask for help when you need it. You need to master the art of delegating. Who's doing what for you? At what time? You can't do it all by yourself. If you want to go beyond where you are, you should be able to ask for help. 1, manage yourself by prioritizing. 2, ask for help. Do not be afraid. You're not weak. Don't listen to what anybody says unless you're content. But if you want to have that room to grow, to learn, to add value to yourself, to create something valuable, and to make something of your life, those are things that you need to really start thinking about. The choice of your spouse is absolutely important. I totally agree. But even with that spouse, if you're not asking him, if you're not communicating your needs and asking him for the help that you need, I'm sure that you said to your husband, I have to go and do this there. Would you please look after the kids?
Definitely.
Sometimes we just don't have the courage to communicate what we need. So speak it out. Ask for help. Manage yourself. Prioritize. It's not everything you can do at the same time. Sometimes you need to say, you know what, I can't do this now. This is what I can do, and stick with it. Thank you.
Brief question. My name is Ejubi Wiafia Kente, and I'm with City TV. Yes. So, first off, let me say I enjoyed listening to you so much. I enjoyed listening to Sweetie Abochi. I've been following her on Instagram for such a long time, from DGN, and seeing her here today. I'm very excited to see her, and I'm so happy that she's with multimedia now. And Miss Ivy, when I listen to you, all I can think about is TED. You talk like a TED speaker, and it's an honor to hear from you. So my question is, how do you deal with stress? Because I'm just starting professional media. I've been doing it not unprofessionally, but as a student journalist for like 2 years. So I'm doing professional media with City, and I've been there for like 4 months. And all the time, the thing is, yes, she can. You can do it. Girl, get up and do that. But how do you deal with stress? Because you are in the space, and then it becomes very overwhelming sometimes. For me, it's just 4 months, but trust me, it's very, very overwhelming. I didn't get to ask my question early because I had to step out and chase one man I've been chasing the entire week to do a very short interview. And I've been chasing him from Monday. Please, can I come and do an interview? And it's very stressful. So my question is, how do you deal with the stress? How do you know that, okay, this is my breaking point. Okay, I'm doing too much. It's getting overwhelming. How do I deal with it? How do I reset and restart? So that's my question for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Forgive my ignorance. I'm a man, so if I'm not able to really appreciate, relay some of the things. When you go to the JHS level, last year, about 600,000 students wrote the BEC. Out of this number, 300,000 were girls, 300,000 were boys, almost 50-50%. When it comes to the WASI, about 400,000 students wrote the WASI, 200,000 for boys, 200,000 girls. So at those levels where they are almost not aware, self-aware, it turns out that they are almost equal in whatever they do. They play together, they play football, they eat together and everything. Per your observations, what changes along the line? So when they grow, we don't see equal numbers in parliament. We don't see equal numbers as CEOs. We don't see equal numbers in leadership. What changes? I genuinely want to understand that. Then number two, briefly. Sometimes when women come to us and want to make it seem we are not allowing them shine, my question is, are women not ignoring the more important things they should be attacking or changing the narratives there? So, for example, the Bible. We grow up to read the Bible, and the narrative is that God has to create somebody in his image, and he creates a man. So everybody grows up thinking God is a man. Almost all the achievers in the Bible are males, and so we grow up naturally with those narratives that men are the achievers, men are the leaders. So if women want to change the narratives, why are we not going to the Bible, for example? Two, language. So if we have a manager, for example, why should we create a slot for a woman and call her?
At this juncture, we get points. We get your point. We don't agree with you, but your point is noted. Please, did you note his point? But I will let him continue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Please.
I'm Fabia. I'm a Juliet. A registered. Mostly we focus on women in politics, entrepreneurship, media, and all. But we don't normally focus on women in health. You know, health is wealth, and we, as women, we can't do without that. Why does society struggle to give women's health the same level of attention and resources as other critical areas, despite the significant implications for overall public health and gender equality? Thank you.
That was a good question. Mental health of women. I think that's the subject matter we're discussing all by itself. But I will let panelists.
I wanted to respond to Ejubi first, but I think it's linked to the last question we just got. Simply, know when to shut down. There's no job that I've ever had that required me to wake up at 4 or 3 a.m. ever. My reporting time had always been 9 a.m. So it meant that my wake-up time was around 7 until multimedia. Morning shows start at 6, so I have to be up at 3:30, get ready, makeup, all of that. Then 6, you sit on the TV and say, hello, welcome, and all that. The first 3 months was hell because I didn't know when to shut down. Because right after you have a review meeting and then you have to go and do some stories and blah, 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 you're leaving the office around 2. But recently, I've started, going by a timetable I've created for myself. So when I get home, between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., I put my phone away. I do not care what's happening in the world. Sweetie Abochi needs her time. How do you deal with stress? Have time for yourself. Find time to shut down. The rest of the world can be calling and pulling at your clothes and whatever, but if you are not full, you cannot pour out. So learn to have time or create that time for yourself when you can shut down and refresh, rejuvenate, all of it. In that time, if you have a hobby, you can do it. If you like riding, like Shikanik, then you go and ride. If it's drawing, reading, whatever, find time for yourself. And a topic about health and why I don't know if I get you right, why we don't focus on healthcare, especially mental health for women. It's the same thing, because everyone wants something from you. And as a woman, we feel like once we have such dependence, it could be family, friends, the job. You have to keep giving, giving, giving. But you need to fill in to yourself before you can pour out. If you are not your best, you are not giving out your best. You understand? So first, create a time for yourself and be very religious with it. It means that between that 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., those 2 hours, excuse me to say, I like how you said touch wood. Even if someone was dying, I would want to wake up at 6. I'm not saying that's what, I'm just giving worst case scenario. I would want to wake up at 6 before I can attend to anyone. Because I realized that when I miss that 2 hours, the next day I'm not myself. My eyes are hot, my body is some way, and waking up at 3 a.m. is not easy. And your job, I understand exactly what you mean. At every point, something is happening. So mental health, stress, all of it, you come first. Do not give out so much of yourself that you don't have enough time to pour into your own self, okay? Find time for yourself and stress. Shut down. The world can go on without you. Everyone will survive. No one will die.
The world can
Yeah. Yeah, the world will go on without you.
Okay, let me add this. For me, I believe that if your job turns out to be a hobby, you'll be relaxing whilst working. I run about 5 events in a year. And people think I'm enjoying, but I'm actually working because I have to scout for venues to host the event and all that. So when I go and they say, wait, the manager is coming, I relax and sip some juice. So if whatever you are doing, you enjoy it, I believe that it shouldn't stress you. I can tell you really love your job. And even if they tell you to come to work at 1 a.m., you still go. Yes, so I believe that if journalism is tough, I don't know when I'm coming back, but I know it's hard work. At multimedia, you wake up very early, especially when you have to go and report on stories and all that. But I would always say that if you love your job that much, even if you're going to cover election year, if you have to be here and there at the same time, even if it's 10 minutes, you can take a power nap. Just take those power naps and get the job done. If you can go on a break, like a leave break or something, just request for it. And then you're good to go. But just love what you do, and the stress will be easy to deal with.
So, the gentleman was asking about why it appears the number of women who are progressing reduces as you progress from junior high, senior high, and the rest. Well, the truth of the matter is, our society, Africa, Ghana, does not encourage women to be at the forefront of things, but we are changing the narrative. There have been so many stories and individuals that I've personally encountered whose parents will choose between sending their boy child to school because, after all, the woman will marry and have children and her life will end anyway. So some of these things are socioeconomic factors contributing. Society is one, money is one, poverty. If your parents can only afford to put one person in school, obviously they'll choose you over your sister. And then again, sometimes the young girls, have to do most of the house chores, and you, the man, have the liberty to go and play football, spend time with your friends, so you are relaxed enough that you can excel in your academic work. The girl is tired from doing all that work and cooking and, taking care of the home. The time she has to go and study, she's dozing off. And so if her grades are not as good as yours, there's also a backslide. Do you get what I mean? So it's a lot of factors. I don't know. The women get what I'm trying to say. We carry so much more than men. And sometimes, even, I'm not married, but I know that the women who are excelling at their marriage are learning how to control them. It's all here. So you're in a nice way, you're telling him, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? I like it when you carry the bag. In a way, you're giving yourself time to relax. Because if you leave it, the men will let you work. They will overwork you. And they don't see anything wrong with it. So, my dear, it's just life and circumstances that surround the way we live tries to pull us down. But we are rising. We are changing the narrative. And soon, hopefully one day, we will be the majority at the forefront of everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You agree with me that we couldn't have chosen a more powerful, distinguished panelist. They have poured out themselves. They have given. In church, they will say, now you are empty. We are very grateful. Grateful for coming and sharing your personal stories that will change or impact all of us in different ways. And I believe when a woman is up to speak, she speaks for all women. And I believe that is what you've done today. We are very grateful. On behalf of the president who had to rush out, we thank you very much. So you can take your seat, and then we'll run. Those who have to leave, you have the permission to, whilst we continue. Thank you. Thank you. I spoke on behalf of all of you. So,
The photographer.